The cosine rule is labeled the same way as the sine rule. Now here is A, B, and C. This is angle A, this is angle B, while this is angle C. So it is labeled the same way as the sine rule. Where angle A is facing is called small letter A, which is the side of A. Where angle B is facing is called small letter B, which is the side of B. And where angle C is facing is called small letter C, which is the side of C. Now, if I want to find small letter A, that is side A, how am I going to find it? You can only find side A when the two other sides are known and an angle is given in between them. When these two sides are known, side C and side B, and an angle which is called angle A is given in between them, you use the cosine rule. And the cosine rule, when you are looking for a side, states that A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. You use this formula when you are looking for a side. So this is the formula for cosine rule. When we are looking for a side, we use this formula. Now, in order to apply this formula, please take note that two sides and an angle in between them must be known. Please take note that two sides and an angle in between them must be known. Now, if I am asked to find x, the only way I can find x is to make sure that these other two sides are known and there is also an angle in between the two sides. So if this is confirmed, you are to use this formula. What if we are asked to find an angle? You know, I told you that this formula is used to find the side. So if you are asked to find an angle, which formula will you be able to use to find it? Now, when you are asked to find an angle, this is the formula you are going to use. Cos A equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. Now, you can only use this formula when you are given all three sides. If all three sides are given to you and you are asked to find an angle which is theta, then you are going to use this formula. Please take note, these two formulas are pretty the same thing. All I did here was to make cos A here the subject of formula to arrive at this. You can find this formula, this first formula, in your four-figure table, but you will not see the second one in your four-figure table. If you are asked to find an angle, you use the second formula, while if you are asked to find a side, you use the first formula. So when this first formula is given to you, you can also simplify this by making cos A the subject of formula in order to get or arrive at this. Now, let's see how we arrived at cos A. If we have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Now, the first thing we are going to do here is I want to take plus b squared to the other side. I want to take plus c squared to the other side. So it becomes a squared minus b squared minus c squared. If plus b squared is coming here, it becomes minus b squared. If plus c squared is coming here, it becomes minus c squared, which is equal to minus 2bc cos a. The next thing we are going to do is that I want to make cos a the subject of formula. So I divide both sides by minus 2bc. Remember, if I divide the right hand side by minus 2bc, minus 2bc will cancel out minus 2bc, leaving us with cos a. So we are having cos a is equal to a squared minus b squared minus c squared is equal to or all over minus 2bc. Remember, I'm dividing this side by minus 2bc, so the whole of this parameter here will be all over minus 2bc. Now, the next thing I am going to do here is I don't want this negative sign to be here. So how do I remove this negative sign from here? I multiply the numerator here by negative. I also multiply the denominator here by negative. So if I do that, I'm going to have minus a squared minus b squared minus c squared all over minus 2bc. So if I open up this bracket, plus a squared, because negative times positive is negative, so it becomes negative a squared. Negative times negative is positive, so positive b squared. Negative times negative is positive, so positive c squared all over negative times negative is positive, positive 2bc. So what we are having cos a is equal to minus a squared plus b squared plus c squared all over 2bc. Now, the last step here will be to interchange this. I want to take minus a squared to the last. Let b squared plus c squared come forward. So if I am interchanging it, I have cos a is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. So these two formulas are the same. It's just that what I did here was to make cos a the subject of formula. So when you know the first formula, you should be able to know the second formula when you are looking for the angle. Please note, this first formula is used to calculate a side, while the second formula is used to calculate angles. Let's look at this example. We are asked to find for the value of x. The first thing you will ask yourself is that, is x an angle or a side? X is a side. We are asked to find this side, which is x. Now, let us check which formula are we going to use to solve for the value of x. Can we use the Pythagoras theorem? No, we cannot use Pythagoras theorem because this triangle is not a right-angled triangle. We can only use Pythagoras theorem when the triangle is a right-angled triangle. Can we use SOHCAHTOA? We can't use SOHCAHTOA because a triangle is not a right-angled triangle as well. SOHCAHTOA is also used when the triangle is a right-angled triangle. Can we use the sine rule? We cannot use the sine rule because the condition for you to use the sine rule is that an angle and a side opposite that angle must be given. The angle given here is 47 degrees. The side opposite this angle is x. It is not given. So because this side is not given, you cannot use the sine rule. Automatically, since we cannot use the first three, the only rule we can use is the cosine rule. Why do we use the cosine rule, or why are we going to use the cosine rule? We are going to use the cosine rule because two sides and an angle in between the two sides is given. Please note, you use the cosine rule when two sides and an angle in between the two sides is given. This is side, angle, side. So when you are having side, angle, side, you use the cosine rule. And the cosine rule is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. So you are going to use this formula in order to solve for the value of x. How are we going to use this formula to solve for the value of x? Let us see. Which is the side? Please always label the side you are looking for small letter A. I repeat, always label the side you are trying to find small letter A. I don't want to know what this side was called, whether it was called X, whether it was called Y or Z or W. I don't want to know, but please always label the side you are trying to find small letter A. Now automatically, if this side is small letter A, then the angle here will be what? Will be capital letter A, because if here is small letter A, this definitely will be capital letter A. So we are having small letter A where we are trying to find, then this angle is what? Is capital letter A. Now, if you have labeled the place you are trying to find small letter A and the angle opposite it is capital letter A, then we are going to apply the cosine formula. But I want you to know that it does not matter what you label the other two sides. Please take note. It does not matter what you label the other two sides. As long as you have labeled what you are looking for small letter A and the angle opposite it capital letter A, you can call this side B, then call this side C. Or you can decide to call this side B or call this side C. It does not matter what you label the other two sides. So please take note of that. I can decide to label this side B and label this side C. I will still arrive at the same answer. The most important thing is for you to try as much as possible to label the side you are trying to find small letter A. And when you have done that, the angle facing it is what? Capital letter A. Then you can apply the cosine formula. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Let's see how we can apply this formula to solve this problem. So we are going to substitute into this formula. Okay, we are going to substitute into this formula. Anywhere we see A, our A is X. So we are going to substitute A for X. So A is X squared is equal to our B is 17. So we are going to put equal to 17 squared plus our C is 12 plus 12 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times our B is what? 17. 2 times 17 times our C is 12 times 12, then cos our value for A will be, value for A is the angle of A, which is 47 degrees. 47 degrees. So this is what we have. We are having x squared is equal to 17 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 17 times 12 cos 47 degrees. Now let's simplify this further. So we are having x squared is equal to 17 squared is 289 plus 12 squared is 144 minus 2 times 17 times 12. 2 times 17 times 12 is equal to 408 minus 408 cos 47 degrees. So this is what we have. Now simplifying this further, we are going to have 289 plus 144 is 433 minus 408 times our cos 47 is equal to 0.682, approximately 0.682. So we're having 0.682. So this is what we have here. Now to simplify this further, we are going to multiply 408 by 0.682. So if you multiply that, you are going to get 278.256. Now we are going to subtract this to 433 minus 278.256. So if I subtract these two, I get 154.74. So we are asked to find x, not x squared. So I find the square root of both sides to get the value of x. So square root of x squared is x, which is equal to square root of 154.74 is 12.4. 12.4. So our answer is 12.4 centimeters. In this second question, we are asked to find for the value of x. How do we find the value of x? Can we use Pythagoras theorem to find for the value of x? No, we can't use Pythagoras theorem because the triangle is not a right-angled triangle. Can we use SOHCAHTOA to solve for the value of x? We cannot use SOHCAHTOA to solve for the value of x because a triangle is not a right-angled triangle. Can we also use the sine rule to solve for the value of x? We can't use the sine rule because despite the fact that we are given an angle, we are not given a side opposite this angle. So we can only use the sine rule when we are given an angle and a side opposite the angle. Now, since we have known all this, the next thing I want us to know is that always label the side you are trying to find small letter A. I don't want to know what this side is being called. Always label this side you are trying to find small letter A. Please don't forget that, very important. Now, if this is small letter A, then the angle opposite it will be called capital letter A. So since we have known this to be small letter A and the angle here to be capital letter A, now how do we solve this problem? Remember that we are going to use the cosine rule because we are given two sides and an angle in the middle of the two sides. When you are given two sides and an angle in between, automatically it is the cosine rule you are going to use. So this problem, we are going to use the cosine rule because we are given side, angle, side. Now, it does not matter what you label the other two sides. After you have gotten your small a, it does not matter what you label your other two sides. You can decide to label this part small letter b, this part small letter c, or you can decide to label this part small letter c and this part small letter b. You will still arrive at the same answer. All you just need to do is to label the side you are looking for small letter a, and the other two parts, it doesn't matter what you label them, you will still arrive at the same answer. Now, cosine rule states that a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. This is the formula for cosine rule. So what we are going to do now is to replace our A for x, our B for 10 centimeters, our C for 12 centimeters. So we are going to replace this to find the value of x. So how do we get the value of x? Now, substituting into this formula, our A is x, so we replace A with x, which is x squared. Our B is 10 centimeters, so it becomes 10 squared. Our C is 12 centimeters, it becomes 12 squared, minus 2 times 10 times 12 cos A, and our A is 100 degrees, so we replace A with 100 degrees. Now, after doing this, what we are going to do now will be to simplify this problem. Now, simplifying this problem, we are having 10 squared to be 100. We're having 10 squared to be 100 plus 12 squared to be 144 minus 2 times 10 times 12 is 240 cos 100. Now, since we have this way, we are going to still simplify this. So our 100 plus 144 is 244. 244 minus 244 minus 240 cos 100. 240 cos 100. So we are having 244 minus 240 cos 100. So you are having 244. So if you simplify minus 240 cos 100, you are going to get plus 41 plus 41.68.41, that's 41.68. Now we are going to add these two. 244 plus 41.68 is equal to 282 282.68. Now to find the value of x, we are going to find the square root of both sides. So if you look for the square root of both sides to solve for the value of x, our x will be equal to 16.90. Our x will be equal to 16.90. So our x is equal to 16.90 centimeters. So all you just need to know is that when looking for the cosine rule, or when using the cosine rule, ensure that you are giving two sides and an angle in between them. So when you are given two sides and an angle in between them, the next thing you are going to do is to make sure you label the side you are looking for small a. So if you label the side you are looking for small a, the next side opposite it, the angle opposite it, to be capital letter A. So it doesn't matter what you name the other two sides. You can name here C or you can name here B. It doesn't matter. You will still arrive at the same answer when you use this formula. So to find for the value of theta here, we're not given any angle. We want to look for an angle. Can we use Pythagoras theorem? No, because the triangle is not a right angle triangle. Can we use SOHCAHTOA? No, because the triangle is not a right angle triangle. Can we use sine rule? No, we're not given an angle and a side opposite that angle. So automatically, it is the cosine rule we are going to use. Now, using the cosine rule, despite the fact that we're not given an angle in between, but with all these three parameters, we can look for the angle. Now, always label the angle you are trying to find capital A. Please always label the angle you are trying to find capital A. If you are looking for a side, you label the side small letter a. If you are looking for an angle, label the angle you are trying to find capital A. So if here is capital A, the other end will be small a. So you're having capital A, small a. It does not matter what you name these two. Okay, you can decide to name it BC or CB. Anyone will work. Anyone will give you your correct answer. So when you have done this, the formula we are going to use will be cos A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. Okay, so when we have done this, now let's see what we are having. We are using this formula cos A equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. Now we are going to substitute our values into that formula. Substituting, A is theta. Okay, the value for A is theta. Now what is B? B is 10 squared. We're having 10 squared. Our C is 17 squared. 17 squared minus our A. Our A is 15. So 15 squared minus 15 squared all over 2 times B is 10. 2 times 10 times 17. 2 times 10 times 17. So when we have done this way, the next thing for us to do now will be to simplify this. So simplifying, we know that 10 squared, by the time you punch the whole of this in your calculator, 10 squared plus 17 squared minus 15 squared, you are going to get 164. 164. You can try that. So by the time you punch the denominator with your calculator, you are going to get 340. You can also try that. So 164 over 340 will give us 0.482. So it will give us 0.482. So how do we get? We are asked to get theta, not cos theta. So to find theta, we look for the cos inverse of this value. We look for the cos inverse of this value. Now, looking for the cos inverse of that value, we are having theta is equal to cos inverse theta equal to cos inverse of this value, which is 0.482. So the cos inverse of this value, you can get it with your calculator. The answer will be 61.2 degrees. So when you are looking for an angle, what you are going to do is to make sure you label the part, the angle you are looking for, capital A. Then the side opposite it, you label small a. So you can label each of these parts either B or C. It doesn't really matter. Then by the time you do that, you use this formula and substitute into the formula to get your final answer. So I'm going to give you work to do now. So you try it. Let's see. You can pause the video, try the work. Let's see if you will get the correct answer. You can pause the video and try this problem. Okay, let's look at it now. Now the first thing you do is that you label the part you are looking for, the angle you are looking for, capital letter A. Then the side opposite it, you label small letter a. So it doesn't matter what you label this to. So if you can label here to be C, here to be B, it doesn't really matter. So we apply this formula, cos A equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. So if we substitute into this formula, we are having our cos theta, our A is theta, so our B is 24. So we are having 24 squared. Our C is 18. We are having 18 squared. And our A is 29. We are having 29 squared all over 2 times our B is 24. 2 times 24 times our C is 18. Now the next thing we are going to do is that since we have expressed this, we are going to find the whole of this value. So please try to get the whole of this value with your calculator. The correct answer should be 0.0682. 0.0682. So we are asked to find theta, not cos theta. So we find the cos inverse of this value. So when we look for the cos inverse of this value, the answer is 86.1 degrees. So this is the correct, if you have solved the correct thing, the final answer you will get is 86.1 degrees.